Hey, good afternoon, everybody. It's Brad Killgore here from America's Best Shops with another fun and exciting episode. How's it going today, Laura?
Fantastic. It's been a busy week.
It has. I'm always stoked to have my good friend Laura Sutherly join us on our latest episode where we talk about what's going on in the AI world and how that pertains to your business and marketing and even even personal life because it's AI in general has become so ingrained into everything that we do. And there were so many updates and rollouts this week. I can't even keep track of them all. And I can't imagine people that aren't even, tuned into the AI world that we are, because literally all the majors or all the big platforms, LLMs as they're called, rolled out something new, or so it seems. So I always say, don't get overwhelmed. Pick your poison. Um, if you like Google and Google Gemini, great. If you like ChatGPT, great. If you like Grok, pick what works best for you. And then we were talking about on one of our other shows today about, well, I was using ChatGPT and literally I saw a shiny object over here that Claude Anthropic rolled out something that's even better. So should I ditch what I'm doing here and switch over to there? I would probably say don't do that because they're all in a race to continue to go bigger, better, faster. What do you think, Laura?
I agree. And I know some of your listeners, they're in a work environment that kind of provides them policies of what they need to stay, so their guardrails. And so, of course, that's top priority of staying as to what your companies want. So, again, as Brad said, everyone's rolling out. It's a race. So, if you don't see it on the current platform that you're working on today, give it a week, give it 2 days, give it an hour, and they'll roll
Yeah.
something out. There's no use packing up, moving to another platform just because it's shiny and new.
Yeah, that's just it. I mean, I always say YouTube is your friend, and I subscribe to a lot of different YouTube channels to try to keep up. I know Google is one that I follow specifically, so I subscribe to some of their channels. And, I always say I don't want to reinvent the wheel. So I watch a lot of the influencers or brainiacs or whatever you want to call them, and whether that's on YouTube or on X. And that way I can go in there and get a high level view of something that may have updated or changed or improved. And I don't have to figure it out on my own necessarily. I get a crash course from somebody who's already spent a few hours or days or whatever mastering some of these tools. So today I'm going to do a dive into some of the things that I think could be helpful today. What's practical to you today? Because if you're running a busy shop, you're running any sort of a business out there, you only have so many hours in the day. So the one I'm going to talk about today is one of my Google Gemini has been one of my favorites for quite a while because everybody knows Google. It's built into whether you're just using Gmail or whether you have a Workspace account where it's a paid Google account. You're already been using them for a long time, right? A lot of people use Google Docs, Google Sheets, Google Slides. The list goes on. So I like it because it's got a lot of features that can be utilized on a simple way, and then also because again, it's familiar. So, do you use Google quite a bit of stuff, don't you, Lori? What were we
I
talking about there?
do. And I think that it's practical. There is a comfort level there, but it's practical. And it doesn't look very foreign when we jump in there as they roll out new tools, new elements to it. It's not shocking to our systems. They all seem to work together. And now, what they're rolling out, and I'm sure you're going to go into this, what they rolled out this week really will allow documents, folders, drives, Gemini, NotebookLM, all to play in the same sandbox, as we say.
That's right. That's right. Well, not only is it practical, but it's, I think, very intuitive in a lot of ways. So I'm going
Very
to
much
jump
so.
into a screen share. Let's see here. What
And I think
window?
that's one thing you bring to your viewers every week is, again, these skills, something that isn't overwhelming to them, that it's little bite size that they can stack and learn more, but they don't feel like they walked into a busy area that they don't understand. So
Agreed.
I'm going to look forward to this demonstration today.
Great. Can you see my Gemini
I
up on my?
can.
Perfect. Okay. So A couple of things is we're going to talk a little bit about Google Gemini Deep Research. And so I brought it up here. If you just do a search, of course, Gemini.google, and then just do a search for deep research. And again, this will help you walk through some of the features here because there's a lot, right? And so I like how when I can go into this website, it will show me a lot of cool stuff, like even these little quick gifs or explainers, real quickly will show me what it does, right? I haven't even opened it up yet, but it's showing me, right? And so a lot of these are giving us the ability to, if you have even a free Gmail account, you're able to use this to a certain extent. But like I say, if you're in a Workspace account where you're in a paid account or a pro account for your personal, it can do a lot. So this shows a lot, right? But I'll just give you the real life view of it. Um, so if I'm in Gemini.google.com, all I have to do is I put in my little basic prompt here, and I haven't even hit the go button yet. But just remember, you have these tools here. So when you go to your little gear icons or whatever you want to call them here, you can do images, you can do canvas, deep research, you can create music now, you can learn a lot. But in this case, I picked the deep research, right? You can also go here and you can pull out other information. So if you're doing a search, maybe something about that's company based, you might add in your Gmail if you want to give it a source that maybe you had some emails about it, or maybe something in your Google Drive. You can obviously upload files here. There's a lot of different angles you could do it. But in this case, I made a super basic prompt, right? Explain all the latest features of Gemini Deep Research and NotebookLM, which rolled out some new features as well. So I'm giving it kind of a twofer today. And then you can also say, how advanced do you want to go? I'm going to do it fast today, but if you're doing more of a complex type thing, again, we're just barely scratching the surface of what this animal will do. But you've got some different features there. So I'm just going to hit the go button and kind of show you what it's going to do. And literally, it's 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 amazing. If you were to just think back, you know, a few months back, we didn't have this, right? This would take
Mm-mm.
a lot of information. So what it's telling me here is let's put a plan together. Let me know if you need any changes before I start researching, right? So it's telling me what it's going to do. It's giving me a lot of options here and everything else. And literally, I can edit what it said if I wanted, or I can just hit go. Which in this case, we're just going to go, right, Laura? So, yeah, it's in thinking mode and we've got it on fast. So it shouldn't take too long. Um, but this one should be an easy one for Google because we're asking about one of its products, right? So can you imagine
Yes.
if you had to research all of these websites on your own? We've already talked about some of these, there's one about Workspace. This is probably the Notebook LM YouTube channel. So it's doing all of this research for us while we're just sitting here drinking iced tea and eating cookies, right? So
Exactly.
what have you dug deep into this one yet, Laura, the deep research tool?
Not as much as you are showing here. I have used it just a few times and have been very pleased with the results. I know you're using fast as an example, but I have found the pro works better in pulling more information for me. So again, if we weren't in a time crunch per se, I know that you would generally use one of the other ones to get very accurate information. But to your point, for even if we would have any of our team go and research and pull back and say, give me an overview of these different YouTube videos, that would take them hours, even if they were just grabbing the URL link and coming back.
Yeah, 100%. It was saying a minute ago that it was looking at 36 websites all at the same time, which we can see, got them all right there. I hear some more. It's still thinking. So when you think about what this could be used for, in this case, we're really talking about what are the new features of the software or of these tools, but you can do so much with this that you couldn't even imagine as far as things about your industry, things about vehicles, things about warranties. Um, improving things within your company. Think about this as kind of essentially your expert researcher, your resident research expert that can do all this for you in rapid fire, right? You can also pull in other things while you're doing this. So I always say, like we've talked about Notebook LM in the past. If I were doing something, if maybe I had a notebook about this subject, I could then pull it in here to what I'm communicating about. And even though it's thinking right now, I can still talk to it. I can still add things, and um, it's telling me here's my summary, right? It's telling me a lot of information, all the limits, like we talked about earlier. Laura talked about pro access. We're talking about standard access. So it's telling me anything I want to know about Notebook LM, the usage tiers, all these different things. We're not going to go through it all because there's a lot of data here. But I think it's important for people to know that um, no matter what you're, no matter what you can imagine these days, this can now go to bat for you and pick out the different things that you want to do. So I think that it's going to continue to get better. I mean, there's so many things rolling out where you can create videos, you can create slideshows. Laura, you had some feedback earlier about some of the Google things about how there's a lot of new features that are tied to Google Docs, Google Sheets, and some of those. You want to give a 30,000-foot view on that?
And it will have to be a 30,000 view because they are literally just rolling these out at their big conference, and so they're talking about the workspace intelligence, and so it's different elements that you can start looking for. If you are in the Google Workspace, look for AI inbox. So if you check your email within Gmail, huge, huge, because basically it won't impact your emails, but if you use AI mode, or not mode, but it'll be AI inbox is literally what you'll see on the left panel. It will actually open up a right panel and give you a priority saying you need to respond to here. Here's our suggested responses. And then you've got all those very key pieces. So I think that's huge because it is, as we said, working in its own environment. You're able to cross reference, get information. So if you have a Google Sheet open, I know Brad and I, we kind of joke saying we're not pros when it comes to all the cool features of Sheets. But now if you list titles and rows and ask it, so an example would be you were wanting to know what other shops were doing in the area. You can actually list those shops and say you want to get a hold of X, Y, and Z. And it will actually, if you use a drag and fill, this has been out. So some people listening may have used it. It will actually go and grab that information. Huge asset. Some of the other things were being when you're back in your email, you're going to be able to look for a button at the top that actually allows you to do some micro flows, so some micro automations. And again, it'll look and see what you're doing. Usually, when we're doing automations, it's A to B to C, and it's up to us, the business owners, to provide those details. Now, because you're in your work environment, it can suggest those workflows. So, a lot of things coming down. And to your point, Brad, watch the Google YouTube channel or subscribe to that. Of course, subscribe to this one and we'll continue to give the baselines. But, and Brad, of course, you always bring such value when it comes to practical information with it. But if they want to learn what is rolled out that we don't have actual access to yet, that would be what I would recommend.
Exactly. I mean, I love the fact that I can now do things like talk to my sheets, talk to my email. What I showed you a minute ago with Gemini Deep Research, I don't have to type that. I can just talk it, right? And I think that's where a
Absolutely.
lot of it's going. And I would much rather talk than type any day of the week.
Yes.
So
And what
I
you
think
were just showing, being able to search through what you have done, because again, I know we get into a lot of conversations with Gemini, but now being able to search for that, I'm glad that you brought that tip to the table today.
that's right. That's right. So, yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, for me, I look at all the other AI tools, but the fact that I really feel that Google in general is going fast. They already had all of the tools and infrastructure with Gmail and with Sheets and Docs and Drive and all these other things. It just is so amazing how they're tying it all together and it just continues to get better and better. I always say this though, check what it produces because it may hallucinate. It may not be perfect, but man, it gives you a heck of a head start. So,
Yes, it
any
does.
other thoughts, Laura, before we wrap for the week?
I'll just remind him because I know you always do the human in the loop when it comes to anything to your point where about the hallucination. Again, if it's generating information, take the time to review it and add your special touch. I know that you've suggested about their tone and their business assets to be in there, but definitely keep human in the loop.
That's right. That's right. It can save you so much time, and time is money. So, with that, we'll wrap up the latest episode of America's Best Shops. As always, be sure to like, subscribe, share, tell your friends about us, and send us comments of what you would like to hear on the next episode. And we'll catch you next time.